This man is somebody that we've been waiting for anxiously to hear. I want you to please help me welcome Platinum International Diamond from For Life Research, Mr. Jeff Altgilbers.
It's so good to be here. I love it. I love being here in Providence, Rhode Island. This is my second time here. And how many of you are from here anyway, by the way? We have some out of state.
Yep.
Okay. Some of you just don't know where you're from, huh? I'm probably the only one from Tennessee, though. I'll tell you, I don't know why Nathan's in corporate anymore. I think we should sign him up. I love listening to Nathan. I said to him, well, you did great. I'd just sit and listen to you. How many new people do we have? And when I say new people, I mean you have not been in For Life. Let's say you either just joined or you haven't been in more than 6 months. How many? Okay. Okay, all right, good. I just want to get a picture. Now, how many of you have not heard my story? Have not heard my story?
No.
Okay, for those of you that have, I feel sorry for you. I was asked to share my story, and then at the same time, I was asked to share some of the tools that we use today as a 21st century network marketing professional. Would you like to learn a little bit about that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to be glad to share that with you as well. I think about this when I look at friends like you, faces and people, and I always ask myself, what made them come here? You know, some might be saying, well, my friend made me come here, or my wife did. But I'm talking about what really motivated you to join For Life. Think about that. See, that's what concerns me as an upline to youth. It's because there's nothing worse than the feeling I would have that I've done so well and others just aren't where they want to be in this business yet. And yet they're giving it 100%. And that's the reason why we came out with the system we do. Because we want you to be able to reach your goal. I think in life it's, oh, where's my marker? Juliana just gave me a fresh black one. So I think the thing is, when I look at people today, yeah. Now, if I was ever in the tire business, I would not make money. But that is a circle. Okay. It's not so good. My 5-year-old would laugh at me. And what I find is that with people, so how am I doing, Juliana?
Great.
She's nice to me. This is your potential. Potential, right? And this is where you're really experiencing positive growth. Positive growth. This is growth. This is what we call a comfort zone. That's a Z, by the way. That's where most people live their life, right there. Now, that's their potential. That's their potential. Most people will never reach their potential. You know what they'll do every day in their life? Oh man, I gotta get up. I gotta go to work. Honey, make the coffee. Shut up, kids. You're going to school. You get out on the freeway, fight the traffic. Go to work, check in. Oh man, these attitudes. Working for these jerks. Oh. And finally, they leave work, fight the traffic, you get home. Maybe pick up the kids at school, who knows. Get home, tired, exhausted. Have dinner, rest. Wake up in the morning, do it all over again. Do it all over again. Yeah. It's like the hamster on the wheel, always in motion, always running, but still in a cage. See, that's where most people operate, is in their comfort zones. And they don't ever escape because they don't know how. That's why we're in this business. We don't want to be in the cage anymore. We don't want to be on the wheel anymore. Because what we want to find is our purpose in life. And most people will never discover that. Most people will never discover that because they're too caught up making a living, man. I'm making, I'm just making a living. You're making a living, but you're not alive. You're going through the motions of life. You're tiptoeing through life, trying to softly go to death. That's not a future. That's a tragedy. And most people live a tragedy because they're not doing what they want to do in life. Think about it. When you were young, a lot of you are young, but for you older people, I'm 57, so I put myself in that category. But when we were younger, what did we want to do with our life? You ever thought about what were your dreams? What were your dreams? At home, I had a Christmas album put together that I did when I was in third grade. And our teacher said, okay, I want you to do all these stories. Now, I want you to put your dream on one page. So we had to also write it out, and then I had to get crayons and draw a picture of that story. But it was about me. I said, when I grow up, I'm going to get in a boat, and I'm going to go to the island, and I'm going to live on the island. That was one of my dreams. You know. Well, it's interesting. I was so busy when I first got introduced to network marketing. I mean, at that time, I was on the wheel. I was in my comfort zone, and I wasn't going anywhere. I'm never going to make that island. And it's interesting, when I fast forward my life to after I've been in for life, I remember when I went overseas, and I met a doctor in Korea. He said, Jeff, there's a group that I want to go see, and they live on an island called Guam, and I want to take you there, and we'll go there, and we'll meet with them. And I smiled. I said, all right. And so we went. And it's a U.S. territory. It's the end of the line, on that side of the world. And so when I got there, I was looking at the beaches and how beautiful it is, everything. And then it hit me. I'm going to live here. I'm going to go back to the United States, and I'm going to pack up. I'm out of here. I'm going to come live on the island. Now, when I say live on the island, that just means that's my address. I didn't spend a lot of time on the island. I did spend some time on the island because I was too busy going somewhere else. Because from there, that was my base. I could fly out and work any Asian country. But I want to go back to my story in the beginning, though. And here's what I want to share with you. I'm no different than you are. Like I said, I'm that hamster on the wheel, and I know I'm in a cage. And I know I'm not living the life I want to live. At that time, I had a business. At that time, I had over 20 employees. Had a lot of money coming in, a lot of money going out. What did I do? I had a cleaning business. That's right. You might go into a store in a Kmart. Does anybody remember what Kmart's were back then? And you might see me with the crew, and I'd say, okay, get the mop buckets, let's get the buffers out on the floor. We got to strip this thing tonight. We got no time. And I would bust it all night long, and they locked that door at 9 o'clock till 7 o'clock in the morning. We're moving. That's right. That's what I did. That's right. I did janitorial work. I had a cleaning business. And I had 2 major accounts. And so that's what I did. I did that for almost 10 years. Well, longer than that, but I can remember that 10-year stretch. And so I didn't know anything about network marketing. I really didn't. Now, in 1978, I first signed up in FLP, Forever Living Products. That was my first company. Nobody ever explained anything to me. They just sold me a case of yellow jugs of valid beer, and he said, go out and sell it. And of course, I wasn't really into sales, and I didn't understand this concept of network marketing. It wasn't until the 1980, I had a friend call me up who I did business with, I bought equipment from, and he says, I want to come and show you something. Now, he is very good at making money. And I said, is money to be made? And he said, lots of money's to be made. I said, well, you better get over here in a hurry. And so he drove over to my house in a Mercedes and pulled up in the driveway, and out of his trunk he showed me a water filter. And I said, that's the opportunity. And he laughed. He said, I'm taking you to a meeting this weekend, then you'll understand things better. And I said, okay. So he brought me to this meeting where they had thousands of people in the room. By the way, I don't know if you ever heard of NSA, that was the company back then. And so what happened was that I just started, watching these people go across the stage. Farmers and rodeo cowboys making $50,000 a month. It was Nashville, Tennessee, okay? And I looked at him, I said, look, let me get this straight. You mean I sponsor somebody, I sign somebody up, and then they sign somebody up just like you did in this room, right? And then you don't pay these people to go to work. They just go to work? Because I got employees, I have to pay them a lot of money, and they complain all the time. I have to hire, fire, all that stuff. But you don't do any of that, and they just go to work, and they just make you money? He said, yeah, that's right. I said, well, I'm in, sign me up. I mean, the concept hit me. And I thought, this is powerful. Well, again, I was operating in my comfort zone. Still, even at that time, I wasn't taking network marketing serious. Now, it fascinated me. I loved the concept, but I still had that business. But in the meantime, what I did do is I opened up actually an office very similar to this in a town called Huntsville, Alabama, and I started doing presentations as well. And it was something that I toyed with, but I wasn't really committed. And then what happened was, a few years later, then everything started changing. It started changing later on. And I lost my two major accounts, and for the first time, I had no money coming in. And then it hit me. I mean, I thought about the whole thing. I thought, wow. I went into bankruptcy. I had nothing, no money coming in. And all I could think about is, what would you do with the rest of your life? Where do you go from here? And I thought, network marketing. I'm not going to do water filters, because they're not consumable. So I went in search at that time for a company. And that's where the journey began. And what happened was I started talking to a lot of different people. I looked at things. I looked at companies. I even answered several ads in USA Today. I talked to people who were doing good in certain companies. I just looked at everything. And then finally, that's what led me to David Lisenby's products. I finally looked at what he had, and then I said, this is it. This is it. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to give it 100%. I'm going to give it all I've got. We call that massive action. Massive action, gets massive results. And I believed in that. And matter of fact, Nathan was talking last night about how we went from eight to faint. It's really true. I would start early in the morning, go late at night, and I would just stay at it. But back to my getting started, when I saw what David Lisenby had, his products, I thought, this is it, but I don't have any money to get started. All my money was gone at that point. And I remember sitting on the porch in my on the front porch of my house, sitting in a chair, and I kept just thinking about myself.